Hello, my name is Andrew Roy, and I was going to talk about how to blind taste today, or at least how to learn to blind taste. So, if you follow this channel, you have seen me blind tasting a bunch of wine and doing okay. Not great, not terrible. Um, it's something I'm working on. One of the things that I have used that has actually been a huge help, um, it's different varietal descriptions. So, if you have never heard of Tim Gaiser, he's a master somm out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, I believe. Somewhere in New Mexico. I think it's Albuquerque. Maybe one of those small cities right outside. Um, and he has a book on how to taste, and it is incredible. I highly recommend it. Um, he recommends a couple of non conventional things, things that actually are super helpful, including how to learn and how to work on your tasting without tasting. Kind of a cool idea. Different descriptions of different varietals, advice on how to build your own varietal descriptions, um, strengthening olfactory memories with something he calls the basic set, which is something I've worked with a lot. He has an approach to tasting that is, it uses synesthesia a lot. Those of you who don't know that word, it just means essentially when two senses bleed into each other. People that have real intense synesthesia, like, are the ones that see sound and like hear colors. So there are people that it goes super far with. Um, his thing is just kind of a slight blending. He calls them different modalities, and he asserts that tasting is largely something that's represented internally visually. So imagine you're smelling a lemon, and all right, smelled a lemon. He says, close your eyes. Is that a clear picture, a little fuzzy? Is it real life, 2D, 3D? Is it bright? How close is it to you? Um, there are a bunch of different modalities. But if you go through them and you start working with, playing with one at a time just to see, you can actually, just internally imagining smells, intensify and decrease. Um, make it easier, make it harder to smell different things based on the way that your mind is picturing these elements. And the cool thing about that is, once you kind of understand how the internal visual system works that you have, you can start playing around with, okay, I've always noticed that I have a blind spot. Can't really smell roses, say. And personally, that's true. I'm terrible when it comes to floral elements at the moment. I'm working on it. But you can start implanting these memories and start working on having visual representations of them. And that way, the last thing you want to do when you're blind tasting, especially for like a certified advanced master's level, is to have blind spots. Because, yeah, you have this test, you get it once a year if it's advanced or certified, or advanced or master's. It costs a lot of money. The advanced, last time I took it, was like 1,400 altogether. Um, and so the last thing you want to do is have blind spots when you're walking into the room. So, yeah, you notice. So, personally, when I smell a lemon internally, just imagining it, I kind of see the lemon in my mind's eye over to the left. It's a bright, still, two dimensional color picture of a lemon. And as I'm picturing that, it's probably, if you have your hand at hand's length away, just off to your left, about the size of what I picture internally. Now, if I'm imagining that lemon, I can, in my mind's eye, bring it closer and notice that that intensifies the smell. I can also push it away, make it smaller. I can, when I realize that, when I'm working on the smell of rose, which is something I worked on yesterday, I can grab a rose, I can smell it, I can imagine the rose petals in the same spot, and okay, I can recreate that smell of rose. As a side note, the ability to recreate that smell in your mind in my opinion, and I think I'm right on this from what I can see, at least for my tasting, is your ability to pick it out of a glass of wine. Because it's easy to, when you smell a rose in real life, actual rose, not a glass of wine, yeah, of course you're smelling a rose. Of course you identify that smell because you have the rose there. Now, to pick it up out of a glass of wine is a different thing. And I think that it's difficult to almost impossible if you don't have this visual imagery. Again, at least for me. And I've always struggled with tasting, and this, I think, might be part of the reason why. And I think that this also may be part of the reason why people struggle when they begin. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not the best taster. We'll see. Anyways, that was a tangent. I picture the rose, and I can get that smell back again, and I bring it closer to me. I can intensify it. I can pull it away. Um, so you can actually kind of implant by smelling and imagining these elements in real life, and you can start bridging the gaps that you have or have noticed in your tasting. Some people really struggle with detecting black pepper. So just smell black pepper. Imagine it like this. Um, for a long time, I had real trouble with espresso and coffee elements. This helped a lot. Um, yeah, it's like I said, you don't want any blind spots, especially when you're nervous in the room. Six glasses, you only have 25 minutes. You have all the master somms sitting there with a timer waiting for you. You want to work at these things. You want to work on these things before you get to that point. So, yeah, that's all I've got for today. It's top of mind and something I wanted to share with you all. Just kind of finish it up. My name is Andrew Roy, and this is my channel, Andrew Roy Online. I do videos about blind tasting, learning to taste, studying for wine exams. I'll probably do other things because I'm a weird dude with a lot of interest in a lot of idiosyncratic things. Yeah, follow me if you want to see more things like this, and I will keep blind tasting. The test is at the end of February, and then the blind taste portion, I believe, is in June. So, got some time, but not tons. Thanks.